Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Let us chant one round of japa with Srila Prabhupada. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram. 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 Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram. 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 Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Ram. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् नष्टप्रायेष्व भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवतसेवया भगवत्युत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्निति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय श्रीमद् भगवद गीता एज इट इज की जय श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय समवेत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः Hare Krishna, dear devotees, welcome to today's Srimad Bhagavatam for All session. Let us recite Bhagavad Gita Shloka. We are reciting from Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 15, text 5. If anyone needs to go first, please raise your hand. Okay, we'll just go in order then. Achut Priya Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranams, Jai Shri Prabhupada Jai Guru, Ram Yoga Students and Devotees.
Dandavat Pranam Mataji. Jai Shri Prabhupada. 1 second, let me just remove the...
Nirmanamah Jita Sanga Dosha.
1 second. Yeah, go ahead, Mataji.
निर्माणमोहाजितसङ्गदोषम् अध्यात्मनित्या विनिवृत्तकामः द्वन्द्वे विमुक्ता सुखदुःखसंज्ञे गच्छन्ति मुक्तपदम् अव्ययम् तत्. Translation by Translation: Those who are free from false prestige, illusion, and false association, who understand the eternal, who are done with material lust, who are freed from the dualities of happiness and distress, and who, unbewildered, know how to surrender unto the Supreme Person, attain to that eternal kingdom. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. In Bainia, Jai Shri Mataji, Jai Ganesh Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
निर्माणमोहाजितसङ्गदोषा अध्यात्मनित्या विनिवृत्तकामा द्वन्द्वैर्विमुक्ताः सुखदुःखसंज्ञै गच्छन्त्यमूढाः पदमव्ययं तत्. Translation: Those are free from false prestige, illusion, and false association, who understand the eternal, who are done with material lust, who are freed from the dualities of happiness and distress, and who, unbewildered, know how to surrender unto the Supreme Person, attain to that eternal kingdom.
Inia.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
निर्माणमोहाजितसङ्गदोषा अध्यात्मनित्या विनिवृत्तकामाः द्वन्द्वैर्विमुक्ता सुखदुःखसंज्ञैर्गच्छन्त्यमूढाः पदमव्ययं तत्. Those who are free from false prestige, illusion, and false association, who understand the eternal, who are done with material lust, who are freed from the dualities of happiness and distress, and who, unbewildered, know how to surrender unto the Supreme Person, attain to that eternal kingdom.
Yes. Mataji Prabhuji are there?
No, Mataji.
Isha.
निर्माणमोहजतसङ्गदोष अध्यात्मनित्या विनिवृत्तकामा द्वन्द्वैर्विमुक्ता सुखदुःखसंज्ञैर्गच्छन्त्यमूढा पदमव्ययं तत्. Those who are free from false prestige, illusion, and false association, who understand the eternal, who are done with material lust, who are freed from the dualities of happiness and distress, and who, unbewildered, know how to surrender unto the Supreme Person, attain to that eternal kingdom.
Krishna Shish.
निर्माणमोहजितसङ्गदोष अध्यात्मनित्या विनिवृत्तकामा द्वन्द्वैर्विमुक्ता सुखदुःखसंज्ञैर्गच्छन्त्यमूढा पदमव्ययं तत्. Those who are free from false prestige, illusion, and false association, who understand the eternal, who are done with material lust, who are freed from the dualities of happiness and distress, and who, unbewildered, know how to surrender unto the Supreme Person, attain that eternal kingdom.
Madhava.
निर्माणमोहजितसङ्गदोष अध्यात्मनित्या विनिवृत्तकामा द्वन्द्वैर्विमुक्ता
Sanjay.
सुखदुःखसंज्ञैर् गच्छन्त्यमूढापदमव्ययं तत्. Those who are free from false prestige, illusion, and false association, who understand the eternal, who are done with material lust, who are freed from the dualities of happiness and distress, and who, unbewildered, know how to surrender to the Supreme Person, attain to that eternal kingdom.
Rasa Priya.
निर्माणमोहाजितसङ्गदोषा अध्यात्मनित्या विनिवृत्तकामा द्वन्द्वैर्विमुक्ता सुखदुःखसंज्ञैर्गच्छन्त्यमूढा पदमव्ययं तत्. Those who are free from false prestige, illusion, and false association, who understand the eternal, who are done with material lust, who are freed from the dualities of happiness and distress, and who, unbewildered, know how to surrender unto the Supreme Person, attain to that eternal kingdom.
Usha Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Dandavad Pranam to all glorious to Srila Prabhupada, Srila Assembled devotees.
Dandavat Pranam Mataji. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Nirmana moha jita sangha dosha आध्यात्मनित्या विनिवृत्तकामः द्वन्द्वैर्विमुक्ता सुखदुःखसंज्ञै गच्छन्ति अमूढा padam avyayam tat. Translation. Those who are free from false prestige, illusion, and false association, who understand the eternal, who are done with material lust, who are freed from the dualities of happiness and distress, and who, unbewildered, know how to surrender unto the Supreme Person, attain to that eternal kingdom.
Thank you. Veda.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Nirmana moha jita sanga dosha adhyatma nitya vinivritta kamaha Dandver vimukta sukha dukkha samnya gachanti muda padam avyayam tat. Translation. Those who are free from false prestige, illusion, and false association, who understand the eternal, who are done with material lust, who are freed from the dualities of happiness and distress, and who, unbewildered, know how to surrender unto the Supreme Person, came to that eternal kingdom.
Priyanka, Narsimhalila Chaitanya Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Text 5. Nirmana moha jita sanga dosha admatya nitra आध्यात्म नित्य विनिवृत्त कामा द्वन्द्वैर्विमुक्ता सुख दुःख संज्ञैर् गच्छन्ति आमूढपदम् अव्ययम्. The translation. Those are free from false prestige, illusion, and false association, who understand the eternal, who are done with material lust, who are freed from dualities of happiness and distress, and who, unbewildered, know how to surrender unto the Supreme Person, attain to the eternal kingdom. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Mataji, they're not here, Mataji.
Okay.
Hare Krishna.
Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji. Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Nirmana jita sanga dosha adhyatma nitya vinivritta kama dvandair vimukta sukha dukkha samhair gachanti amuda padam avyayam tat. Translation by Mr. Divine says those who are free from false prestige, illusion, and false association, who understand the eternal, who are done with material lust, who are freed from the dualities of happiness and distress, and who, unbewildered, know how to surrender unto Supreme Person, attain to the eternal kingdom. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Srila Prabhupada.
Dandavat Pranam Mataji. Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Nirmana moha jita sanga dosha adhyatma nitya vinivritta kama dvandvair vimuktaha sukha dukkha samatnyar gachanti amudaha padam avyayam tat. Translation. Those who are free from false prestige, illusion, and false association, who understand the eternal, who are done with the material lust, who are freed from the dualities of happiness and distress, and who, unbewildered, know how to surrender unto the Supreme Person, attain to that eternal kingdom. Thank you.
Okay. Priyanka Haripriya Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Please accept my humble obeisances, Mataji. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Nirmana moha jita sanga dosha adhyatma nitya vinivritta kamaha dvandair muktaha sukha dukkha sangai gachanti amuraha padamavyayam tat. Those who are free from false prestige, illusion, and false association, who understand the eternal, who are done with material lust, who are freed from the dualities of happiness and distress, and who, unbewildered, know how to surrender unto the Supreme Person, attain to the eternal kingdom.
Thank you. Prajna. Or Saujanya Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dana Pranam Sir. Prabhupada, to the assembled devotees.
Dandavat Pranam Mataji. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Nirmana Moha Jitu Sanga Dosha Adhyatma Nitya Vinivritta Kama Dvande Vimukta Sukha Dukha Samner Gachanti Amudha Padam Avyayam Tat. Those who are free from false prestige, illusion, and false association, who understand the eternal, who are done with material lust, who are freed from the dualities of happiness and distress, and who, unbewildered, know how to surrender unto the Supreme Person, attain to that eternal kingdom. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Prajna is there? Not there. Okay. Spurti.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare
Can I
Krishna.
recite, Mataji?
Hmm?
Can I recite?
Yes, yes.
Nirmanam
Nirmana Moha Jita
Nirma
Sanga.
Nirmanamohajita Sangadosha Atma
Adhyatma.
Adhyatma Nitya Vinivritta Kama Dvander Vimukta Sukha Dukkha Sangder Gachanti Amudapadam Avyayam Tat. Translation: those who are free from false prestige, illusion, and false association, who understand the eternal, who are done with material lust, who are freed from dualities of happiness and distress, and who are unbewildered, know how to surrender unto the Supreme Person, attain to the eternal kingdom. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Anyone else? Did everyone recite? Okay, I'll recite. Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 15, text 5. Nirmana moha jita sanga dosha adhyatma nitya vinivritta kama dvandvair vimukta padama dvandvair vimukta sukha dukkha sangair gacchantya mudha padamavyayam tat. Those who are freed from false prestige, illusion, and false association, who understand the eternal, who are done with material lust, and who are freed from the dualities of happiness and distress, and who, unbewildered, know how to surrender unto the Supreme Person, attain to that eternal kingdom. Okay, let's read Srimad Bhagavatam. We're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 1, The Advent of Lord Krishna, Introduction. So we're reading the commentaries of Acharyas at the end of the chapter. Yesterday, Maya Manushyasya. So we discussed this. So we discussed what is Maharatha, Athiratha. Then Maya Manushyasya means people mistake, those who are not devotees, of course, they mistake Krishna to be an ordinary person, to be a human being. Why they misunderstand Krishna like that? Because of Krishna's Yoga Maya. covering their vision. So ordinary people or non-devotees, they won't be able to understand the actual position of the Lord. Then there's another special meaning. The word Maya also indicates mercy. Maya Manushyasya, it is said, right? So Maya also means mercy. And sometimes it also means knowledge. Maya means knowledge also. Interesting. Maya means mercy and Maya means knowledge also. The Lord is always full of all transcendental knowledge, and therefore, although he acts like a human being, he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, full of knowledge. So that's one meaning of Maya Manushyasya. Maya Manushyasya. Manushyasya means he's appearing like a human being, but Maya means he's full of knowledge. Even though he's appearing like a human, so Maya Manushyasya, another meaning of Maya Manushyasya is, even though he appears like a human being, he's actually full of knowledge because he's the Supreme Lord. Okay. In his original identity, the Lord is the controller of Maya, Maya Adhyakshena Prakriti, Suyate Sacharacharam. So Maya Adhyakshena, Adhyaksha, he is controlling Prakriti, Maya. Therefore, the Lord may be called Maya Manushyasya, that means the Supreme Lord playing like an ordinary human being. Maya Manushyasya. That means Maya is his servant, maid servant, right? And he is the controller of Maya. Maya Manushyasya. That means Manushya means ordinary human being. He is acting like an ordinary human being, but actually he is the Lord of Maya. Maya Manushyasya. The Supreme Personality of Godhead playing like an ordinary human being, although he is the controller of both the material and spiritual energies. So that's another meaning of Maya Manushyasya. The Lord who is playing like a human being, but he is actually the master of Maya, both Yogamaya and Mahamaya. So then the Lord is the Supreme Person, Purushottam, but because we are deluded by Yogamaya, Naham Prakasha Sarvasya, right? Yogamaya Samavritaha. So we don't see because of Yogamaya. He is a Supreme Person, he is Purushottam, but because we are deluded by Yogamaya, he appears to be an ordinary person. Ultimately, however, Yogamaya induces even a non-devotee to understand the Lord. Yes, but that does not mean that he is supremely independent, and Yogamaya is his internal energy. So by his internal energy, he can even induce a non-devotee to understand the Lord. Sometimes that also happens. By his mercy, you cannot put conditions. No, you cannot give your mercy to this person or that person. I have the qualifications, so you have to give me the mercy. Can you put some conditions like that to Krishna? No, he's Swarat, he's supremely independent. So the Yogamaya, which is the Lord's internal potency, that means it's the Lord's internal potency. He does things through his Yogamaya. So through his Yogamaya, he can induce even a non-devotee to understand the Lord as the Supreme Person. Normally, non-devotees think he's a human being, but by the power of Yogamaya, sometimes even a non-devotee can understand the Supreme Lord by his mercy. So in Bhagavad Gita, there are two statements how the Lord is giving that knowledge. Did we read this also yesterday? Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam. I think either Usha Mataji or Narsimha Chetan Prabhu read. Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayanti te. Yes, normally who understands Krishna, one who is engaged in pure devotional service, and not that simply by engaging in pure devotional service he is independently by his devotional service he is understanding. No, by engaging in pure devotional service, the Lord becomes pleased with the devotee and then he reveals himself to the devotee. So until and unless the Lord reveals it, nobody can understand the Lord. When will the Lord reveal it? Normally, when somebody is rendering pure devotional service and the Lord is pleased with that devotee, then he he will reveal himself. But out of his own sweet will, he will reveal. So until and unless the Lord reveals, you will not understand him. Therefore, tesham satata yuktanam, to whom he will reveal? To that person who is always means always, 24/7. Satata means at all times. Satata yuktana means he is engaged. Tesham satata yuktanam, in what? Bhajatam, in bhajan, Preeti Purvakam, with great love and devotion, who is always 24 hours engaged in serving the Lord with great love and devotion. Dadami Buddhi Yogam Tam, I give Buddhi Yoga to that person. Yenamam Upayantite, by which he can come to me. So, this is the normal procedure. You render pure devotional service, the Lord is pleased, and he will reveal himself. But some cases, even to non-devotees, he can reveal if he wants. To those who are constantly devoted and worship me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. Thus, for the willing devotee, the Lord gives intelligence by which to understand him and return home. So how you'll understand him? Only when he gives you the understanding will you understand him, how to go back to him. For others, that means for non-devotees, how the Lord appears to the non-devotees. Mrityu sarva haraschaham. They also see the Lord in the form of death. Everyone has to face death, and that death is also Krishna's form, one of Krishna's forms. Kalosmi, right? I am Kala, the time. I am all plundering, inevitable death. Mrityu sarva harascha aham. I sarva haraha. He takes away everything. What is it that finishes everything, takes away everything? That is mrityu, death. And Krishna says, I am that death. Mrityu sarva harascha aham. So those who are not devotees, they see Krishna in the form of fearful death, like Prahlad Maharaj and Hiranyakashipu. Prahlad Maharaj saw Nrsimhadev and he was feeling so much love. And Hiranyakashipu, when he saw Nrsimhadev, to him Nrsimhadev was death. Just like Kamsa, when he saw Krishna, for him Krishna was death. Like that. So depending on our position, we see the Lord either as the most loving, affectionate master, or you see him as death. A devotee like Prahlad enjoys the activities of Lord Nrsimhadev, whereas non-devotees like Prahlad's father Hiranyakashipu meet death before Lord Nrsimhadev. Right? In front of Nrsimhadev, they meet death. The Lord therefore acts in two ways, by sending some onto the path of repeated birth and death, and sending others back home, back to Godhead. So he's acting in two ways. Remember, we were reading about the Lord ordering his Prakriti, Maya, to also appear, like he's going to appear, and Balaram is going to appear, and he orders Prakriti also, you also appear. So there we studied what is that Maya, both Yoga Maya and Mahamaya. So the Maya which assists him in his dealings with the devotees is Yoga Maya, and the Maya which assists him in the dealings with non-devotees is Mahamaya. And this Mahamaya is nothing but an expansion of Yogamaya. So two types of dealings are there of the Lord, one with devotees, one with non-devotees. To the devotees, he appears as the most loving, merciful Lord. To the non-devotees, he appears in the fearful form of death. So some of them he is sending back home, back to Godhead, and others he is putting them in a cycle of repeated birth and death. Did we also read about Kala yesterday? The word Kala, meaning black, indicates the color of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Do you remember if we read this? Don't remember.
Yes, Mataji, we read it.
Yes.
Yes, Mataji. Yeah.
Okay. Kala. Kala means black. Kala. Right? Kala. Kala also means time, but Kala is black. Indicates the color of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Lord Krishna and Lord Ramchandra, who both look blackish. Lord Ramchandra has the greenish tinge, but both were dark, like dark durva grass. That is Lord Ramchandra's complexion. Krishna is like a dark rain cloud. Krishna has the bluish tinge and Lord Ramchandra has greenish tinge, but both are dark, blackish. So Lord Krishna and Lord Ramchandra, who both look blackish, give liberation and transcendental bliss to their devotees. Among persons possessing material bodies, sometimes someone is able to subject death to his own will. Someone is able to subject death to his own will. For such a person, death is almost impossible because no one wants to die. But although Bhishma Dev, so sometimes this is very rare. Most of us have to die when the time comes. It's forced upon us. It's not like we decide. Because if you try to commit suicide, that is sinful. You should not do that. So, but some yogis, they can actually choose when they want to leave their body. That's not suicide. Actually, they, by their advancement in yoga, they are able to decide the exact time when they want to leave the body. Like we see in Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhishma Dev, when the sun was entering into Uttarayana, at that very moment, he chose to leave his body. Yogis can do that. Even in Bhagavad Gita, 8th chapter, we read, right? Yogis, those who leave their body, in the light, in the Shukla Paksha, during Uttarayana, their destination is different. And those who leave their body during Krishna Paksha, in Dakshinayana, right? Their destination, and during dark, right, at night, their destination is different. Like that we read. That means you can choose when you want to leave your body. If you're a yogi, you can choose. But this is not common. Normally, most people, they are forced to leave their bodies at a certain time. So among persons possessing material bodies, sometimes someone is able to subject death to his own will. According to his will, he is able to meet death. For such a person, death is almost impossible, right? So it is impossible because normal tendency is nobody, because see, the nature of the spirit soul is sat. Sat means eternal. Spirit soul has no death. And this body is imposed on the spirit soul. But the spirit soul's nature is, I want to live forever. Will anyone want to just end his life and just stop living? No. Temporarily, sometimes because of some difficulty, for the time being, some people may feel, but that's just flickering. For that, actually, nobody wants to die. And if you have that capacity of not dying, right, that you can choose when you want to die, so for such people, normally death is impossible. Like they don't have to die at all, so they won't die because they have that free will. They'll keep on living normally. So uh, sometimes, so for such people, for such a person, where he's able to choose his death, death is almost impossible because no one wants to die. But although Bhishma Dev possessed this power, he had this power of Ichha Mrityu. He would die when he wanted. Bhishma, by the supreme will of the Lord, died very easily in the Lord's presence. See, if you are not a devotee, or if you're not transcendental, if you're still in this material, conditioned state, you wouldn't want to give up your body. And if you got a facility like that, you will use it to live forever. But because Bhishmadev was a great devotee, even though he had that opportunity, see, the only reason that he even lived for so long was not because he wanted to live here and he wanted to enjoy life. He had also taken a vow to protect the kingdom of Hastinapur. He had given this word to his father that until and unless he would see that the kingdom is in proper hands and it is safe, nicely protected by a Rajarshi, he will be there. Because actually it was Bhishmadev who was supposed to take the kingdom. Shantanu Maharaj had selected Bhishmadev to become the king because he was qualified in every way. He was a Rajarshi. He was qualified. So this is the responsibility of the king to ensure that after him, the next a qualified king comes into power. Because king is supposed to be a representative of the Supreme Lord. He should lead all the citizens on the path of Dharma so that they will progress in spiritual life. So it is a very important responsibility of the king to pass on the kingdom to another qualified king. And Shantanu Maharaj had selected Bhishmadev. But Bhishmadev understood that his father wanted to marry Satyavati, and Satyavati's father put a condition that only Satyavati's children would become the next king. Her son would be the next king. So only with that condition he would allow Satyavati to marry Bhishmadev. I'm sorry, Shantanu. So in order to make his father happy, right, to fulfill his father's desire to marry Satyavati, Bhishmadev took a vow, right? He said, yes, I will not take the kingdom. Even though he was the crowned prince, he said he won't take the kingdom. Rather, his brother, Satyavati's son, will become the king. And then, further on, the Satyavati's father said, you may relinquish the kingdom, but by right, you are the eldest son. So even if you say no, your sons will then claim that it is our right and they'll take the kingdom. So then Bhishma Dev said, all right, I won't even marry. I will never marry. I will never produce any sons. So there's no question of my sons claiming the kingdom. Okay, the story didn't end there. So he took Satyavati, went back to the kingdom, gave to her father. So now, you can marry her, because Shantanu Maharaj was very heartbroken. He also had approached Satyavati's father, but when he heard the condition of Satyavati's father, he felt this is not fair. I cannot do this injustice to the kingdom and also to Bhishma. His name was Devavrata at that time. So he said, I cannot do this. So he refrained. He said no, but still he had that affection, attachment to Satyavati. So he was very sad, morose. So Bhishma Dev brought Satyavati to his father. But now there's another problem. We don't even know if the sons, first of all, if Satyavati would have sons, and if the sons are born, if those sons will be qualified to be the king. It's not just by birth that someone is, appointed to a particular position. You have to see the qualification. And they're not even born. How we can know whether they're qualified or not? So again, Shantanu Maharaj was very sad, very morose. Of course, he was very happy with Bhishma Dev for taking that severe vow. Happy means he was not happy also, but he was just seeing the sacrifice of his young son for the sake of his father. So he gave him the benediction that so Shantanu Maharaj was also very powerful. Powerful means he had a lot of pious credits. If you remember, Shantanu Maharaj in his previous life was Mahabhisha, right? And he was a very pious king. So many pious credits he had that he was elevated to, Brahmaloka. He was there in Brahmaloka attending one meeting where all the demigods had come. And he had gotten attracted to Ganga Devi, who had come there. And that's why he had to come back and take birth so that he could marry Ganga Devi. So he was a very powerful person with many pious credits. So Shantanu Maharaj, by his power, by his pious credits, he could give this benediction to his son, Devavrat, Bhishma, that you will get Ichha Mrityu. Ichha Mrityu means until and unless you want to die, you will not die. You will live forever. If you don't want to die, you will never die. You will live forever. He got that benediction from the father. Okay. But so Bhishma Dev could have left because he's a great devotee. What interest will he have for living? But the father was very much concerned that what if the sons of Satyavati are not qualified kings? Then all our ancestors, predecessor kings in this Bharat Vamsha, they have been such powerful kings. They protected Dharma. Now we are putting this dynasty into the hands of an unknown person who is not even born yet. We cannot take this risk. Then Bhishma Dev said, I won't take the kingdom. I won't sit on the throne, but I will protect. Right? I will make sure that I will protect this kingdom. and I will live. I will not die until and unless I see that this kingdom is safely protected and it is in good hands. So this his whole life was a life of sacrifice, Bhishma Dev. He didn't marry, he didn't have any of his own children, and not only that, his brothers, Satyavati's sons, she got two sons, Chitrangada and Vichitravirya. Both of them died without having any children. Chitrangada didn't even get married and he died. And Vichitravirya, he married Ambika and Ambalika, but before producing any children, he died. And when they were little boys, they were not killed. Shantanu Maharaj left his body. Now the whole kingdom, Hastinapur, right? They were the emperors. The king of Hastinapur was the emperor for the whole planet. There was nobody to rule. So Bhishma Dev had to officiate. He was ruling on behalf of his brothers, Vichitravirya, Chitrangada, who were still small boys. He was training them, educating them, sending them to Gurukul, and also taking care of all the royal duties, administrative responsibilities, without sitting on the throne like a servant. He was ruling. And when they were of marriageable age, he got them married, especially Vichitravirya. Chitrangada had died. He found the wives for Vichitravirya, got them married, and he died at a young age. Again, there is no king. Then he had to now, find another heir, because Satyavati was saying, you gave that vow in order to protect the kingdom. Now there is no one else. All your brothers are dead. You should take the kingdom. It's a very, I mean, it's completely justified, isn't it? Uh, Anyone could say, yeah, because now there's no one else, I have to become the king. He still didn't become the king because I gave that word to Satyavati's father. I cannot become a liar. So again, Vyasdev was invited to produce children in Ambika and Ambalika. Then Dhritarashtra, Pandu, and then Vidura, they were born. They were all Vichitravirya's sons because the queens, Ambika and Ambalika, were Vichitravirya's wives. They were his kshetra. Kshetra means field. Field. If you have land, your field, you are the owner proprietor, and if you invite somebody to come and plant seeds, like you do that, right? You invite some workers to come and plant seeds, some people to come and do weeding, harvesting, like that. So similarly, you invite someone to come and plant seeds in your field, and then from the seeds crop comes up. Who will claim the crop in the end? The owner of the field or the person who planted the seeds? The owner, right? The seeds grown on the field belong to the owner of the field. So Vichitravirya's fields were Ambika and Ambalika. So the seeds that were planted by Vyasdev in Ambika and Ambalika, they belong to the husband Vichitravirya. So the children were Pandu, Dhritarashtra, and Vidura. They were actually Vichitravirya's sons. Anyway, so Bhishma Dev now had to train Dhritarashtra, Pandu, Vidura, and again get them married. All this is to make sure that the kingdom is properly protected. He never took the kingdom. So, in this way, generation after generation, trying to protect the kingdom, he continued to live. And the blessing of his father, that he can die only out of his own free will whenever he wanted, it was never used for his personal enjoyment. It was simply as service, to fulfill the order of his father, the desire of the ancestors. He continued living, and he even took part in the battle of Kurukshetra against his desire. He didn't want to fight, but that also because now he was, uh, you know, he was on the side of Hastinapur. Whoever was the ruler of Hastinapur, he was the servant of the ruler. So here the ruler is Duryodhan, Dhritarashtra. So he had to fight on their side. And after all this, after the battle, finally, he. But what was his heart? His heart was he was a devotee. So he took the opportunity, even though he was His whole body was pierced by arrows of Arjun, and he didn't die even then. He had every reason to give up his body, right? There's no way he could live in that body. It was completely, there was no space between two arrows to push a finger in between. So many arrows throughout his body. He could have easily left his body. He didn't leave. Any other person would have died instantly after getting so many arrows. But because of that blessing of his father, he lived. And it was his, if it were his desire, he could have said, all right, I've done everything that's within my capacity, I can leave. He endured all that pain and he just lived. But until what time? Okay, Yudhishthir Maharaj, the battle ended. Yudhishthir Maharaj became the emperor. And you may say, oh, if that's the only reason why Bhishma was living all these years, to see that the kingdom is in good hands, now Yudhishthir Maharaj became the emperor, he could have left. He could have left. He still didn't leave. He waited for Krishna to come. And when Krishna came, he gave all instructions to Yudhishthir Maharaj, and then gazing upon Krishna's beautiful lotus face, offering prayers to Krishna, then he left his body. So this is Bhishma Dev. So ordinarily in this world, if anybody got this type of benediction of giving up his body by his own will, he will never give up his body. He will keep on living, right? But Bhishma Dev, that's what Srila Prabhupada is saying here. See, although Bhishma Dev possessed this power, Bhishma, by the supreme will of the Lord, died very easily in the Lord's presence. That means there was no attachment to living a long life. He lived a long life for service. And as soon as that service was done, he had no attachment for living a long life. And when he got the opportunity to, when he completed his service, then taking darshan, gazing at the beautiful lotus face of Krishna, he gave up his body very easily, without any cares or without any attachments. This is not possible for ordinary people. There have also been many demons who had no hope of salvation. Demons who had no hope because they are so demoniac. Demons, they don't get salvation, but when they're killed by the Lord, they get. But otherwise, demons means those who are demoniac. Their destination is they are supposed to go to hell. They have no scope, no hope of salvation. Yet Kamsa, even though he was such a demon, he got salvation. How? By the will of the Supreme Lord, right? So what are we reading here? That the Lord is supremely independent, right? He can even give mercy to those who are not qualified. Not to speak of Kamsa, even Putana attained salvation and reached the level of the Lord's mother. Parikshit Maharaj therefore was very eager to hear about the Lord, who has inconceivable qualities by which to give liberation to anyone. This is the Lord, the Supreme Lord. He is supremely powerful. He can give liberation to anyone, regardless of his background or qualification. Parikshit Maharaj at the point of his death was certainly interested in his liberation. When such a great and exalted personality as the Lord behaves like an ordinary human being, although possessing inconceivable qualities, his behavior is called Maya. So we are trying to understand the word Maya Manushya here. All this explanation is in trying to understand Maya Manushya. So why Maya Manushya? First meaning we said is Maya means knowledge. Even though he appears like a Manushya, he is full of knowledge because he is the Supreme Lord. Then the second meaning of Maya Manushya we saw is Maya is his servant, he is the controller of Maya. So Maya Manushya means he is, even though he appears like a Manushya, he is actually the master of both Mayas, Yoga Maya and Mahamaya. Then here his behavior like an ordinary person. So here we are seeing how he is the Lord of both Yogamaya, Mahamaya, how he is inconceivable. His powers, his qualities are inconceivable. So he can, whatever is normal rules and regulations, he can write them off, right? He can uh, he's supremely independent. He's not obliged. He's not obliged by any conditions or any rules. He's the supreme personality of Godhead. That's why Srila Prabhupada says he's the supreme autocrat. There's no one above him. Hmm? So he can even, to the most unqualified person, he can give liberation if he wants. Being so powerful, he acts like an ordinary human being. Hmm? He acts like a cowherd boy. This behavior of Krishna, that being supremely powerful and at the same time acting like an ordinary human being, it's very bewildering, right? So this behavior is called Maya. Therefore, the Lord is described as Maya Manushya. Who is explaining this? Srila Jiva Goswami. Mu refers to Mukti. Who refers to that which is very bad or obnoxious, right? Like you say, uh, Ku. Can you give an example of a word that begins with Ku, meaning bad? Uh, Kurupa. Kurupa means someone who is very ugly to look at. Ku means bad. Hmm? Mu means Mukti. Ku means bad. Muku refers to the Supreme Lord who saves one from the bad condition of material existence. Mukunda, right? The Lord's name is Mukunda. So Muku. Mu means mukti, one who delivers, who liberates. From what? From ku, from all bad conditions of material existence. He is Mukunda. Muku, Mukunda. The Lord is called Mukunda because he not only saves the devotee from material existence, but he offers him transcendental bliss in love and service. So then I think we should read from here, right? Uh, Spurti, your turn, right? Because we didn't start reading yet. It's almost time, but let's read a little bit. Spurti is there?
Mataji, Spurti is not available. Mataji.
Okay, you or Suhrid, you can read.
Sure.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
As for Keshava, Ka means Brahma, Isha means Lord Shiva. The personality of God that captivates both Lord Brahma and Lord Mahadev, or Shiva, by his transcendental qualities. Therefore, he is called Keshava. This opinion is given to Sanatana Goswami in his Vaishnava Toshani commentary. Disconnected. It is said that all demigods are accompanied by Trinayana, Lord Shiva, went to the shore of the ocean of milk, and offered their prayers through the mantra known as the Purusha Shukta. From this statement, it is understood that demigods cannot directly approach Lord Vishnu, who lies on the ocean of milk, or enter his abode. This is also clearly stated in the Mahabharata, Moksha Dharma, and the next chapter is Srimad Bhagavatam, and the next chapter is Srimad Bhagavatam. Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, has his abode in Goloka. Goloka namni nijadamni talasitasya. From Lord Krishna came the Chaturvyuha, the quadruple expansions Shankarshana, Aniruddha, Pradyumna, and Vasudeva. There are innumerable Brahmandas, all of which emanate from the pores of Karanakashai Vishnu, and in every Brahmanda there is a Garbhodakashai Vishnu, who is a partial expansion of Aniruddha, and this Aniruddha is a partial expansion of Pradyumna, who is partially represented as Kshirodakashai Vishnu, the super soul of all living entities. These Vishnu expansions are different from Krishna, who resides in Goloka Vrindavan. When it is said that demigods offered prayers to the Lord by chanting the Pushakta, this indicates that they pleased the Lord by
Enunciating.
enunciating prayers of bhakti. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Mataji, you can read the next. Swarnangi Mataji is going to read, or should I stop here?
Mataji, I can read, Mataji.
Yeah, go ahead.
The word Vrishakapi refers to one who satisfies 1 minute. Sorry, Mataji, it was echoing.
Yeah, no problem.
The word Vrikshakapi refers to one.
Vrishakapi.
Vrishakapi refers to one who satisfies his devotee in every way and frees his devotee from all material anxieties. Vrisha means refers to religious performances like sacrifices. Even without the execution of sacrifices, the Lord can still enjoy the supermost comforts of the heavenly planets. The statement that Purushottama Jagannath would appear in the house of Vasudev distinguishes the Supreme Personality of Godhead from ordinary persons. The statement that he personally appeared indicates that he did not send his plenary expansion. The word Priyartham indicates that the Lord appeared to please Rukmani and Radharani. Priya means the most beloved. In the commentary of Sri Veera Raghavacharya, the following extra verse is accepted after text 23. Rishayopi tad adeshat kalpayantam pashurupinaha payodhanamukenapi vishnum tarpayutam suraha. O demigods, even great sages, following the order of Vishnu, appeared in the forms of cows and calves to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead by delivering milk.
Okay, Mataji, thank you. So Spurti is not there, right?
Yes, Spurti is not here.
Okay.
Mataji, can one of our devotee friends' daughter is here. Can she read 2 lines, Mataji?
Yeah.
Her name is Shrestha, Mataji.
Okay. Hare Krishna, Shrestha. Go ahead.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Ramanujacharya.
Ramanujacharya sometimes accepts Baladeva as a Shakti Avesha avatar, but Srila Jiva Goswami has explained that Baladeva is an expansion of Krishna and that a part of Baladeva is Sankarsana. Although Baladeva is identical with Sankarsana, he is the origin of Sankarsana. Therefore, the word Svarat has been used to indicate that Baladeva always exists in his own independence.
Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Priyanka Haripriya Mataji, will you read?
Yes, Mataji, I can. The word Swarat also indicates that Baldev is beyond the material conception of existence. Maya cannot attract him, but because he is fully independent, he can appear by his spiritual potency wherever he likes. Maya is fully under the control of Vishnu. Because the material potency and Yog Maya mingle in the Lord's appearance, they are described as Ekam Shena. Sometimes Ekam Shena is interpreted to mean without differentiation. Sankarshna and Sheshnag are identical, as stated by Yamuna Devi. O Rama, O great armed master of the world, who have extended yourself throughout the entire universe by one plenary expansion, it is not possible to understand you fully. Therefore, Ekamsha refers to Sheshnaga. In other words, Baldev, merely by his partial expansion, sustains the entire universe.
Okay, Mataji, thank you. So tomorrow we will continue from the next paragraph, and I will also explain what we read today tomorrow. Okay. From here, as for Keshava, that from there I will explain tomorrow, and then we will continue reading from the word Karyarthe. Okay. So let's read Bhagavad Gita. Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 2, text 34. Please repeat. Akirtim chapi bhutani kathayishyanti te vyayam sambhavitasya chakirtir maranad atirichyate. People will always speak of your infamy, and for a respectable person, dishonor is worse than death. So, Krishna is telling Arjun that you are a Kshatriya. Not only are you a Kshatriya, so first of all, as a Kshatriya, if you kill someone on the battlefield, you're not going to incur any sin. On the contrary, if you get an opportunity to fight in a Dharma Yuddha, that's a great fortune for a Kshatriya. Because in that Dharma Yuddha, if he wins, then he will enjoy the kingdom. And if he gets killed in that battlefield, he goes to heaven. So it's actually a win-win consequence for a Kshatriya to fight in a Dharma Yuddha. Not every Kshatriya gets this opportunity. They're waiting for this opportunity, and you have this. And you are saying you'll get sinful reaction by killing your grandfather and your teacher. You will get a sinful reaction if you don't fight in this battle, because you will be going away from your dharma as a Kshatriya. So you won't get sinful reaction by fighting and killing them. Rather, you'll get a sinful reaction by not fighting in this battle. And then not only are you a Kshatriya, but you are a very famous Kshatriya. You are the number one fighter on the whole planet. Everyone knows you. Even demigods. You have defeated Lord Shiva also, and you got Pashupatastra. The whole world knows you. And now, if you desist from this fight, if you go back, you know what's going to happen? All your fame, all your honor and respect, sab mitti mein mil jayega. It will all be completely spoiled. And then those people who were at one point glorifying you as, oh, the great Arjun, Dhananjay, and the great warrior, now they will say, oh, the coward Arjun who ran away from the battlefield. That type of insult from the same people who once glorified you, will you be able to take that? For someone who has been honored, dishonor is worse than death. It's better to die than to face such insult. So this is what Krishna is saying. People will always speak of your infamy, and for a respectable person, dishonor is worse than death. Purport: both as friend and philosopher to Arjun, Lord Krishna now gives his final judgment regarding Arjun's refusal to fight. The Lord says, Arjun, if you leave the battlefield before the battle even begins, people will call you a coward. And if you think that people may call you bad names, but that you will save your life by fleeing the battlefield, then my advice is that you do better to die in the battle. For a respectable man like you, ill fame is worse than death. So you should not flee for fear of your life. Better to die in the battle. That will save you from the ill fame of misusing my friendship. Right? Arjun, who is the friend of Krishna, he ran away. So not only is your name going to be spoiled, even mine, right? You are my friend, and such behavior from my friend, right? Thus, that will save you from the ill fame of misusing my friendship and from losing your prestige in society. So, the final judgment of the Lord was for Arjun to die in the battle and not withdraw. And let's read Srila Prabhupada's Leelamrita. Srila Prabhupada's Leelamrita, continuation from yesterday. So yesterday we were reading that Srila Prabhupada is in the He's giving class in 26 Second Avenue, and one, like a bum, he walks in, and then, he says something, and Prabhupada says, "Oh, there's a class going on, keep quiet," right? And then he just says something like, "Oh, I'll get something," and he walks out, right? Prabhupada just smiles and continues the class. After that, suddenly the old derelict returns, announcing his entrance. "How are ya?" He's carrying something. He maneuvers his way through the group, straight to the back of the temple, where the Swami is sitting. He opens the toilet room door, puts 2 rolls of bathroom tissue inside, closes the door, and then turns to the sink, sits some paper towels on top of it, and puts 2 more rolls of bathroom tissue and some more paper towels under the sink. He then stands and turns around toward the Swami and the audience. The Swami is looking at him and asks, "What is this?" The bum is silent now. He has done his work. He didn't say anything. Prabhupada begins to laugh, thanking his visitor, who is now moving toward the door. Thank you very much." The bum exits. So he didn't say anything. He just came, put the toilet paper and paper towel, and he came and he looked at Prabhupada. Prabhupada asked him something he didn't even say, because he's done with his service, whatever he came to do, and he's walking out. And Prabhupada said, thank you very much." The bum exits. Just see, Prabhupada now addresses his congregation. It is a natural tendency to give some service. Just see, he is not in order, but he thought that here is something, let me give some service. Just see how automatically it comes. This is natural. The young men in the audience look at one another. This is really far out. First the chanting with the brass cymbals, the Swami looking like Buddha and talking about Krishna and chanting. Now this crazy stuff with the bum. But the Swami stays cool. He's really cool, just sitting on the floor like he's not afraid of anything, just talking his philosophy about the soul and us becoming saints, and even the old drunk becoming a saint. After almost an hour, the dog still barks and the kids still squeal. Prabhupada is asking his hearers, who are only beginners in spiritual life, to become totally dedicated preachers of Krishna consciousness. Quote, "In the Bhagavad Gita, you will find that anyone who preaches the gospel of Bhagavad Gita to the people of the world is the most dear, the dearest person to Krishna. Therefore, it is our duty to preach the principles of this Bhagavad Gita to make people Krishna conscious." Unquote. Prabhupada can't wait to tell them, even if they aren't ready. It's too urgent. The world needs Krishna conscious preachers. Again, Prabhupada is saying, people are suffering for want of Krishna consciousness. Therefore, each and every one of us should be engaged in the preaching work of Krishna consciousness for the benefit of the whole world. Lord Chaitanya, whose picture is in front of our store, has very nicely preached the philosophy of Krishna consciousness. The Lord says, "Just take my orders, all of you, and become a spiritual master." Lord Chaitanya gives the order that in every country you go and preach Krishna consciousness. So if we take up this missionary work to preach Bhagavad Gita as it is, without interpretation and without any material motives behind it, as it is, then Krishna says, "It shall be done." We should not have any attraction for worldly activities, otherwise we cannot have Krishna. But it doesn't mean that we should be inimical to the people of the world. No, it is our duty to give them the highest instruction, that you become Krishna conscious. And a young man in the audience seems unable to contain himself and begins making his own incoherent speech. Prabhupada, no, you cannot disturb just now. Man standing up. Now wait a minute, man. A quarrel begins as others try to quiet him. Prabhupada, no, 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 not just now. No, no, you cannot ask just now. Man, Well, I'm trying to talk. Prabhupada, no, just now you cannot ask. Man, but wait a minute, man, wait. Prabhupada, why do you interfere just now? We have a regular question time. Others in the audience, let the man finish. Yeah, let him talk. The man's supporters defend his right to speak while others try to silence him. Second man, I have just one question, please. How long is an individual allowed or expected to go on without any type of thought? How long? Prabhupada, I am not finished. We'll give question time after finishing the talk. The parties go on quarreling. All right, I am very glad you are curious, but please wait. Have some patience, because we have not finished. As soon as we finish, after 5 minutes, 10 minutes, I will tend to your question. Don't be impatient. Sit down. The audience quiets down and the Swami goes on with his talk. After 5 minutes, Prabhupada, all right, this gentleman is impatient. We shall stop here. Now, what is your question, sir? Man, practically we tend to place emphasis on those we identify with the fact itself. Again, practically we tend to place emphasis on those we identify with the fact itself. Many people are meant to explain the why force and wherefores of the metaphysical truth that I think, therefore I am. Prabhupada, what is your particular question? Man, I have no answer to that question. Rather, but that I attempt, I live, I breathe. Prabhupada, yes. Man, so ability, tell me why I have nothing to do with it. May I understand the why fors and wheres? Prabhupada, that's all right. Man, I have difficulty in you. I have difficulty in saying, Prabhupada, so long as we are in this material world, there are so many problems. Man, not many problems. It is not many problems. This is the greatest fact. I know. Prabhupada, yes. Man, I also know that the whys and wherefores of my particular Prabhupada, yes. Man, I didn't come here, but let me explain my position. This isn't necessarily, I feel I must. I think the difference is to learn. You'll find it innumerable times by the same token. Maybe we are able to reconcile the fact of individual being for a long time to find out why. I mean, nothing's going into my head, whatever he's saying. Prabhupada, turning to one of the boys, Roy, can you answer his question? It is a general question. You can answer. Yes? Roy turns sympathetically to the rambling questioner, and Prabhupada addresses his audience. Enough questions. His voice now seems tired and resigned. Let us have kirtan. And the lower east side once again abates. The chanting begins. The brass cymbals, Prabhupada's voice carrying the melody, and the audience responding. It goes for half an hour and then stops. It is now 9. The audience sits before Swamiji while a boy brings him an apple, a small wooden bowl, and a knife. As most of the audience still sits and watches, gauging the after effects of the chanting as though it had been some new drug, the Swami cuts the apple in half, then in fourths, then in eighths, until there are many pieces. He takes one himself and asks one of the boys to pass the bowl around. Swamiji holds back his head and deftly pops a slice of apple into his mouth without touching his fingers to his lips. He chews a bit, ruminating, his lips closed. The members of the congregation munch silently on little pieces of apple. Prabhupada stands, slips into his shoes, and exits through the side door. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So we'll end here. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you very much for joining this morning. All of you have a wonderful day in Krishna consciousness.